and this is why I'm saying divine feminine, because we inherit the mitochondria from the woman, from the mother. So there's mitochondrial DNA within all of our bodies, and you inherit it from your mother. So it's only the daughter that can pass on the DNA. If the son were to, would inherit yours, once he, had a child with another woman and had another child, that child would have that woman's mitochondrial DNA. And so what's happened is there was a shift around 200,000 years ago with the mitochondria, which is really interesting because it's lining up exactly with what Greg Braden was saying, that there was some type of genetic interruption in humanity around 200,000 years ago. So there actually have been mutations that have happened within our
Mhm.
genes. And, from all of our talks, I mean, all on your show and everything, we know where that's coming from. So this is a 200,000 year thing that's been going on, which is fascinating for me personally, and I'm sure for some of the listeners. And what happens is that when there's metabolic, like you imagine like a nice little like kidney bean, and then once you like, let's say you dehydrate that kidney bean, it's all shriveled up. Well, that's what the mitochondria are. They're all these little like shriveled up kidney beans in our cells, and they're not able to function properly. And so there's some early warning signs dependent on caffeine, severe hunger pains. So, for example, you can't do intermittent fasting. Let's say that you have to eat by 8 o'clock in the morning. If you have to eat by 8 o'clock in the morning, or if you have to eat at nighttime, or if you can't go 4 hours without eating, you are in metabolic dysfunction. Like that's a huge warning sign right there. Anybody who can't do an intermittent fast for 13 hours. Stress, high levels of stress, loss of
Mm.
stamina, loss of joy, depression, muscle and joint stiffness, fatigue, tired all the time, memory loss, and brain fog. Those are the early warning signs. And a lot of us have these signs, right? And then we continue to feed with caffeine, we continue to eat, we continue to watch TV, with stimulation over and over again. And then that's just pushing you over to the next level. The next level is beginning to get disease starting to show up in the body. So what I was saying is that because the mitochondria are specifically inherited, the DNA specifically inherited from the woman, this is an issue that like when we think on like more of a spiritual level, it is an attack on the divine feminine because it's on an attack on our natural connection to the earth, number one, and to each other. And what's happening now along with the EMFs is like they're completely getting bombarded and
Yeah.
dehydrated. So I'm just talking about the mitochondria here, but I mean it's so important for them to be healthy. And so what creates this health is our environment. And that's just on the physical level. This is only the third dimensional stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, on a spiritual
yeah,
level, just to add to this,
yeah,
the mother mitochondria supports the growth of cells. Like
yep.
I think that's what it's doing. And I think that goes not only like physically, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally.
Mhm.
That's why people who have like really toxic relationships with their mothers, they usually have very difficult lives, like being able to transcend um, anything, really. Like they
Yep.
struggle with growth, they struggle with career, they struggle with just feeling happy with themselves. Like there's always a constant state of healing, and that has to continue to happen throughout their life because literally their mitochondria is already energetically oppressed just because of that broken or
Yep.
tormented or traumatic relationship with their own mother, but it goes even deeper just into
Yep.
the overall wholeness and well-being of the human, like
Right.
when it comes to
Yeah.
disease. So this is really interesting.
Yeah. And so what's interesting with women is that we carry the mitochondria in our eggs. So the way that it's passed on is in our eggs. So we have it since before birth, like when a child is in the womb, like in the fetus is developing, like a girl, she has her ovaries and there's eggs in her ovaries. So she's born with them. With men, they produce it in sperm. So that's how it's produced. And the men don't pass it on. It's the women who pass it on. And what we're noticing right now is a massive increase in childhood sickness, autism, all kinds of issues with children, and it's stemming like think about what the women are passing on, you know? And so this is just like it's going so deep. It kind of gives me the chills talking about this because like it's so deep, you know, that we really need to start becoming aware of it so that we can do something about it. And the key to
Yeah.
doing something about it is to, first of all, recognize it. And number two, change your environment. Your environment is a reflection of the way that your body is responding, right? And we know that from Bruce Lipton. It is proven in science. And so we can change the way that we interact with the environment and the food we put in our bodies and how we interact, you know, just in general with everything. But though, but there, it takes work. It's not going to be done for you, and it's a challenging road to be on. But then you feel joy and happiness. You know, like there's bumps in the road to get there, but you can feel whole and you can heal yourself. So, anyways, yeah, we really need to take care of the mitochondria in our bodies. It's key.
I mean, this really comes back to, I think, what I've been fighting for this whole time when it comes to the forced breeder programs is
Yep.
how women are being cared for on the planet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how what's happening to the women. I mean, it exposes the root of evil, it exposes the root of disease, it exposes why our soul family and the collective is not well.
Yeah.
And, you know, to have all these men, no offense, I love the masculine. I mean, but I mean, we have them at the apex of leadership, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just completely neglecting a whole aspect of health in a way because women's health and reproduction really isn't being cared for too much. There was actually just a woman, I think in Georgia, this just came up. She was found passed out in the front yard after having a miscarriage. She's like on life support right now, and
Mm.
they're charging her for murder of her fetus.
Wow.
Um,
Crazy.
Yeah, so
Wow.
not to open up too many other
Yeah.
wormholes to go down, but I mean, really the female reproductive, I mean, I think that needs to be headed by an all-female council somewhere
Hmm.
in the government system. I mean, because obviously we can't seem to get government out of the woman's womb, you know, to save
Yep.
everyone's life here in the US. So, I mean, why don't they pass the baton off at least to women to have autonomy over those decisions in some way? I think it would really, you know, assist. But I mean, yeah, this opens up so many avenues of
Yeah.
how we can tie everything in here. It's just, it's mind blowing. I mean, everything you're saying, like, I'm just
Yeah.
mind blown right now. How much correction, how much care, how much reversal of illness, sickness, and disease we need to be focusing on right now. And
Hmm.
that's why we're doing this event, is because, I mean, we've really recognized our family, our community, like, they're struggling with health.
Yep.
I mean, that is a common thing, and I've noticed it really amp up. Like
Hmm.
people are struggling at a new level.
Hmm.
Like the degree of the struggle has increased. And that to me is something that's concerning when you see people like really barely hanging on.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's not easy to make these changes.
No, it's not. But it's either you make the change or it will be done for you. And
Yeah.
that is death. And I hate to say that. It's either you make the change this lifetime and get on your mission, or your other option, and your soul chose this. Like the soul comes in before the soul comes in, you know, there are contracts that are made. And part of the contract is, you know, there are ways that you could potentially
Yeah.
die, you know, like there are these markers like on your path. And if you stay on the path, maybe you'll live until you're like 95 years old, but maybe it's not, you're not meant to. Maybe some people are meant to like die at like 56, you know? So, but the thing is that we all have these missions, and like it's like these diseases, when they pop up, it is a sure sign that you are not on your mission that you're supposed to be on this planet. And we all came here for a reason, to help Earth ascend to the next level so we can get to the new Earth. That is the goal. And so anybody who's listening to this, I'm sure they connect with that.
Yeah.
But it's a very direct answer of mine, and it's hard for people to hear sometimes. And you know, if a lot of times like people, it'll go in one ear and out the other, and but that's their choice. So,
How did you find the inner courage to
mhm,
make the changes that you needed to make? I know it's like a slap in the
yeah,
face to get that diagnosis. Like
yeah,
that's probably like talk about that, how
right.
that felt and like how it motivated you
Yeah.
to really.
I felt like I was gonna die. Like, I mean, I felt a death in myself because I was like, everything that I've done up to now means nothing. Because it's like, it's true. It's almost like a life or death experience because it is a very clear warning sign like that I was off my path. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And the internal thoughts and anger and hate that I had inside that were kind of eating me up in these lower vibrational levels because of the trauma that I had, my experience that I had, um, was going to kill me. So I realized like either wake the fuck up and do something about it, or you're not going to be around for your kids in the future. And I want to see them. I have to be here because so much change is
Yeah.
happening. We're here for a reason. And it's like, and I was like, yeah, it's just my personality to be like, no, like I'm going to be on the path. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Like I'm going to do whatever it takes to heal myself. And then I'm going to be of service to others and help others. Like that is what I'm here
Mhm.
going to do. And help other people wake up. And so, it's just pure willpower, you know? And it's very true. Like everybody has their own path. All diseases that come forth within individual bodies are different too, because every body is different. And
Yeah.
so we all have like these energetic imprints with us that are, like a fingerprint. And so I think we really need to rethink the way that we look at disease and how to help people heal from disease and also ways of because we are living in such a toxic environment that maybe instead of cutting the disease off and just cutting the symptom, maybe we need to learn how to work with it and that we might need to live with it, and manage it instead of just cutting it off. Like it's very
Yeah.
barbaric to cut out or cut off disease when you think about it. Like we're gonna look at back at ourselves like 1,000 years from now, like or even like a couple hundred and be like, wow, they were cutting themselves up.